What's your favorite sport? Really? Do you know? That's all. Last time you said.
It'd be fun if I.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. You could have done it. It wasn't high at all, trust me.
It wasn't high. Back.
Oh, because there was a guy in the 70s. Yeah. Brandy coming tonight? There's agendas up here if anybody needs one.
He was heading from Evans County, so I know he was on his way to Evans County at about 4. So he was trying to get here as well, so.
Oh, so we can't do the his part.
Hearing,
Yeah,
we can give him a few minutes. I would suggest we give him all here
okay.
and just see. Maybe, do you have, I guess.
Like if we need to.
Yeah, we can just
Just something out like.
move past it, yeah. Seven. 6:30. Has he?
Yeah.
He said 20 minutes out, it starts at 7.
It starts at 6:30, we'll start with that.
We gave Bobo the night. Well, Bobo's coming Monday for the economic development.
So they're taking turns.
Which, just a reminder, if you have any questions for the economic development workshop for Bobo to answer ahead of time, send them to me.
Okay. Looks like he's not gonna be here.
Okay. Call to order Rankin City Council meeting September 9th. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
Councilmember Underwood.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Exley.
Here.
Councilmember Blackwell.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Councilmember Riley.
Tonight, our invocation is going to be given by Pastor David Reiner with Maranatha Family Church. And please remember to remain standing for our pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your grace and your mercy. Thank you for allowing us today to sit in this audience of this council and these city members. Lord, to give us wisdom and knowledge and the things that we need. So grant us that today. Grant peace and understanding with grace and mercy. Thank you for all that's been done and all that will be done tonight. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Reiner. We appreciate it. There's a motion in order to approve tonight's agenda. Does anybody have anything on that?
I have,
Yeah, for tonight. I got a motion by Mr. Blackwell. I got a second by Mr. Scott. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes. Also, are there any questions or comments for the approval of the August 26th minutes?
found a few corrections that need to be made. Old business, item number 1. It has down there where it said able, it should be table. Correction, and then on, what was confusing was the numbering of all the agenda items.
Yes.
On the new business are off compared to the agenda we had on August the 26th. What happened was item number 4 was skipped on the original agenda. And so where it says delete 1 and 8, it should say 1 and 7 now. To make that, so if you can make those corrections, they'll see it.
New business administrative reports, page 12, IT. Matt said he's been, things are running smoothly. See that second line, just, I was gonna send that to you, Dave, they'll see, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah. Correction. The approval. With the necessary tenure.
I got a motion by Mr. Scott.
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Blackwell to approve the August 26th minutes with noted changes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We're going to, for public comments, guys, comments shall pertain to agenda items only. Should you wish to appear before council, forms can be found at Rankin City Hall. Or you can call and speak to Terry or Jody, and they can kind of lead you from there. We are going to skip the public hearing portion. We'll wait on Mr. Perkins to get here, and then we'll go back to that. So there's a motion in order to approve the consent agenda as it reads. Got a motion by Ms. Taylor.
Second.
I got a second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We'll go into old business. Number 1, request approval to pay Corcat $203,233.68 for Patriots Park playground equipment and installation. We tabled that on the 26th. Ms. Lewis, do you have any information on that for us?
The only thing I would say, excuse me, is that we reached out about that swing set. They do have a crew coming tomorrow to fix that.
Is this the full payment or the 90%?
This doesn't mean it's the full amount.
This would be the full.
Can we, Mayor Pro Tem,
So-
can we get a motion to pay your?
Got a motion by Ms. Riley, I got a second by Mr. Scott to remove this from the table. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, what do you?
Until it's, we're happy with everything. What do y'all think?
That's what I was gonna recommend.
Yeah. I would
If
say
you paintage like we do with public works, like sidewalk, roofs, and everything,
Yeah.
until everything's finished up.
Okay.
And
Make a motion to approve payment at 90%.
second,
I got a motion by Ms. Riley, I got a second by Ms. Taylor, to approve a 90% payment to Corcat, with the other 10% coming after 100% of repairs are made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll move to, new business. This is the first reading on. Oh, this goes with the public hearing, okay. So we'll go back, so we'll go to new business number 2. So vote on final site plan approval for an application filed by Jason Waters with Edge HVAC requesting final site plan approval of 6,000 square foot commercial building. The parcel is 1.01 acres located on North Ridge Drive and is zone B2. The property is owned by North Ridge Rankin LLC. Ms. Lewis? Or representative?
Let me see, I'm gonna let the applicant come up and talk about the project.
Okay. And when you come up, just state your name.
Good evening, I'm Heather with Moppy Engineering, did the site design and permitting on this project. Same owner of Edge HVAC at 497 North Ridge, would like to construct a building on the same property. The lot's already cleared. It'll be 4 individual units. They're working on an interior design for one shop, stub out the other ones. They just, to be cost conscious, go ahead and do the whole thing, whole building at once, even though they've only got one of their 1,500 square foot units being worked on for interior, so. And we worked with Carrie, just a couple comments on there and got that
Okay,
approved.
Lynn and I rode by there today. Where are y'all parking all your vehicles and trailers if you build that?
Yeah, they do not park in the warehouse now because they have the room to just pull up in the grass and do that, but that warehouse is, we had all the trailers, we did a traffic memorandum for Terry during, review, and they're just gonna either make them, take them home, or actually put them in the warehouse, now that that grass space isn't going to be there.
Okay,
don't.
second thing, we have some strategic stuff going at, Freedom Park. We already have the design coming up.
Okay.
And we would hope that you would match with that. That way it would all be cohesive.
Okay.
Are you willing to do that?
Yes, I'm sure the owner would not have any problem with doing that. Moppin's also working on the project right across the street that,
Okay.
Has
Yes, we
city-
make it all
Yes,
just flow, and it
We
would be
did.
like a continuation. You
Yes.
see what I'm saying?
yes, Alexine did the design and came in front of you guys, but yes, we've been running that back and forth and kind of made sure the surveys lined up and things like that, during design, so.
Okay, and we could get you a copy of that so you could see.
well, she's doing it.
Yeah, there
Yeah, Moppin Engineering's doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then you knew.
Yes, yeah, I said it was that was Alexine, yes. Sorry. Yes, she, Alexine in our office, designed and permitted that one, so, yeah.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to know that they can, they'll think about that, learn together.
I agree.
We were trying to get them kind of on the same schedule. I think we got behind one little session, so the smaller one, but
So Terry, all their parking meets code, both buildings independently.
What's planning's recommendation on?
They meet all of the requirements to do the they meet all the requirements of the code, and planning and zoning board voted, 4-0 recommended.
Two questions, because of you gonna share an entrance, I was thinking maybe that's entrance for your, the HVAC business and then 4 new businesses. I didn't know what the traffic flow was gonna be, and that if that's big enough to have just one entrance and not 2.
They only have, I think, 2 full-time employees, and then they have managers in and out. The crews pretty much take the equipment home. If they need to come in and swap out equipment, so it's not supposed to be high traffic. And with each unit being like 1,500, they're probably not gonna have more than one, like, full-time
So it's not,
employee.
those businesses may just be, like an office, space for a couple of people and,
Yeah, and it's a very small portion of the existing that has the office, and they've only, I think, the
and
traffic.
so you're not gonna build a fence between the new building and the old one to separate it in any way? Just continue the pavement over?
Correct. It's cleared right now. We'll have to cut a portion of it just to have a nice seam, in between.
Right, that's what I was
Those
trying to
existing
decipher.
fence.
Is
Yeah.
there at 9 o'clock this morning?
Yeah, we had discussed with, the owner, I've got email backups that, his standard operating procedures, which will probably start once construction's there. The field guys are just gonna have to, do what they're supposed to do, equipment going home, using their inside warehouse. Right now, they've just got that big open space, so. But as soon as construction starts and the construction fencing goes up and the erosion BMPs, then we're gonna be getting used to the new traffic pattern in there. We're also removing, I think there was a ramp in the gutter where they're just pulling in the grass right now, so.
It looks like it's gonna be a crowded mess. All of that.
Do they already have, renters?
One will be his wife's shop, that's the only one that's being worked on right now. They were building that for her and just didn't make sense to do just one. And so they'll shell the other 3 and stub them out, so that's the only one that's on. Building claims will probably
All right.
work on. So.
Anybody else got anything? Motion to move.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Scott, got a second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Number 3, new business is vote on the final site plan approval of an application filed by Natasha Farley. The Touch of Elegance event venue and Tiny Tots Party Center, requesting final site plan approval of 3,500 square feet event building. The parcel is 1.17 acres located at 244 Carolina Avenue and is zone B2. The property is owned by Touch of Elegance Events Venue and Tiny Tots Party Center, LLC. How you doing?
Good afternoon, Brandon Purcell, the engineer of record on this one. Be happy to answer any questions or any concerns y'all have.
So there's gonna be an in and a, yeah.
It's just.
Just one, and I don't, that's not it.
That's it.
So going in?
That's right, one-way directional traffic.
This is the other.
So on the plat that we got, it says a metal building.
Yes.
We're concerned, maybe the looks of that. I know the Babcock building right next door is metal, but we're trying to spruce up everything, and make the facades on the exterior look very nice and pleasing to everyone in the city.
Yes, sir.
So how's that going?
I might have to bring might have to bring McLean up on that one. They do have an architect hired out that's done the design on it. I don't know if it was part of y'all's submittal package or not.
No, that, we didn't see a look
Okay.
on how that was.
Not sure if you got one of those with you. The facade of the building, I did not bring one with.
You didn't. I do have it. It's no metal building. How are you? My name is Natasha, and no metal building at all.
There may be a metal frame, but the outside would be brick and stuff over.
Right, yes, it's gonna kind of But it, you in the look of like a shopping center type form, to me, it looks very good, and I think it would fit with
What is the planned
everything that's
exterior
going
interior?
in.
What is the planned exterior?
The
For
outside,
the outside,
yes, ma'am.
okay, right now, we're looking at, a brick facing. Okay,
And
Which
it's,
is.
yeah,
right, which is the city.
where I saw, what was the total capacity of the buildings? Number of people is what I'm asking.
Right.
So you got an event space with
Yeah.
maybe a little kitchen and some bathrooms, but how big the space will?
It's a little less than 3,000 square.
I mean, people.
Occupancy.
Okay, about 175 in the morning.
Okay. If I did my math right, now I was thinking 150. If you got, I counted 29 parking spaces.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's 150.
29 parking spaces, that would be 58 people, 2 per vehicle. You had 4 people, that'd be 116 people. So where the extra people, other 36 souls, goes 34, 36 instead. Park.
So we can occupy that. That's not saying that that's what they're gonna,
Correct, I'm just saying,
Delivered to.
it looks like there's not enough parking for the full occupancy by the fire code.
the fire code, and that can be addressed if we start getting that many people at one time. Believe this is, like I said, a 3,000 square foot building, 150 people is a lot for that space at the moment.
Right.
But if it comes to that, we would address that.
What's the standard?
So they're meeting,
The code
they're
would probably
meeting
be.
the, they're meeting the code requirements, and I get exactly what you say. I mean, the code requires one thing, the youth board, that may not, but at the same time, they're not going to, I assume, rent it out to somebody who can't make the parking work for what's on site. So,
Correct.
With that in mind, I was thinking the property next door to the north, as you're looking at the map, are you gonna have a fence or anything there? So they wouldn't be parking in front of that auto repair shop and then walking across.
No, so there's no room on the existing road to park on the shoulder, and there is gonna be a fence on that side.
well, they can't if they aren't gonna be parking on the site, so they're not gonna be allowed to park along the road or anything like that. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't explore a shared parking agreement with a nearby business for, off hours use,
Cause that's not, that's the type
We,
of.
gotta go back to our ordinance, because the ordinance identify the square footage for parking for the square footage based on the building. And if we've got a problem with that, that's our problem, we've got to go back, and readjust our ordinance on that. That's, the criteria, when it went through planning, their requirement is to make sure they meet what the board is requesting. And apparently they have.
And the ordinances also address the fact they cannot park along the way.
That's simply just not-
what you got fire capacity, and what public safety.
Cause that's a tight curve on Carolina, so.
Yeah.
They can't be parking at the police department or city property or anything. They have to stay inside their premises.
Correct. I'm looking at your plans and, just below where the building is, looks like that's gonna be a green space.
They own the property, they've applied for an LDA, and we've got that acquired. There's no immediate plans to develop that this time, but if that is, again,
I
a
mean,
part,
just right immediately below the building.
yes. On this side plan, yeah, it's green space.
It's
Yeah,
green
it's green
space.
space, whatever they need to use it
So,
for. Pictures, but yes, sir.
I think it's a good idea.
I think so too. We need something like this.
Thank you.
All right, hold on a minute. I got a motion by Mr. Scott, I got a second Ms. Taylor was trying to get it out 3 times. That way. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Congratulations.
Your price point check around the areas, I don't know if you've done that, Springfield. You're gonna do good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. New business number 4, vote on a final site plan approval of an application filed by Raja Malapula. Am I right? All right, there we go. Requesting final site plan approval of a 5-unit retail building. The parcel is 1.03 acres located on 608 Town Park and is zoned B2. The property is owned by Usher Real Estate LLC. Come up.
Good evening, council. My name is Ken Stroud. I'm with Robert Civil Engineering. And our firm has helped develop this site plan. It is for a little over 8,000 square foot building that will have some retail and like a little coffee shop on the end. Typical brick design with, like when you see a Moe's GameStop kind of design all in there. And we provide adequate parking. It's a master drained area that y'all had developed for commercial uses. And we've tied into that, met those standards, got the parking, met landscaping. It will have a bunch of trees throughout the front for streetscape as well as trees in some of the islands in the rear. Water and sewer's been provided to the site through that commercial development when it was developed. I'm happy to answer any additional questions about
What's
this.
the side gonna be?
It'll be brick.
Brick.
Yep, I have a little rendering here.
Okay.
A brick with them.
We figured out conformity's our thing right now.
Absolutely. I asked this. You got those renderings, right?
You said, when you already had one client in
Like a coffee shop.
the shop, and the drive-through would be on the top of that.
Yeah, it starts around where it turns into a one-way and comes down. You'll see the 2 lanes there so people can exit, leave, use the parking, or have that drive-through.
It does, it kind of looks like Satura's over there.
Yeah. You fit right in with the kind of loop.
Right. We looked around those buildings and wanted to make sure it kind of fit that scale, went back on a couple of graphs.
Please make sure there's adequate.
Add that for go ahead.
You need to take a note of the security cameras. And I should have mentioned that too. Yeah, but it makes it different. It says that as a ordinance that we were talking about. Security cameras exterior for our officers if they're running in your parking lot. Be investigate it properly.
It's not on the books yet.
It's not on the books. It is coming. So it's just something to keep in mind. We really love it if you guys would.
Of course, the client's right here, so. Duly noted.
States.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a motion by Ms. Underwood. I got a second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you all.
New business item 6, I'm gonna, Perry, I'm sorry, 5, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this, and then we'll have Ms. Calhoun come up, and then I'll have Mr. Perkins. Request approval to waive building permit fee for Gap Ministries for the purpose of building wheelchair ramps.
Good evening, I'm Dan Franklin with Gap Ministries. We currently have a request through Life Incorporated. Life is living independent for everyone. They fund ramps for folks that cannot afford it. Gap has been, we started our ministry in 2005. In the 19 years, almost 20 years we've been working, we've done 253 ramps preponderantly in Effingham County. We've done maybe 8 or 10 in the city of Rankin. We had a situation down through the years of having problems with, getting permits and getting inspections and what have you. And about 4 or 5 years ago, Elizabeth Waters was the director of the, Effingham United Way. And she had a conversation with Lakeisha, I think it was. And, we were able at that time to, submit a permit request without a fee and have post-construction inspection. We didn't have to dig a hole and wait for the inspector to come and see if it was the right size and all. We've done, as I said, we've done 253, I think it is, ramps. And none of them have fallen down. We have a good track record of building above the ADA requirements. We know what they are, and our construction is stronger than ADA requires. Now, for example, they require a 3-foot ramp. We build a 36-inch ramp. We build a 40-inch ramp. Everything minimum of 5-foot turn radius. We do all of those things. We do everything that ADA requires, and we do an on-site inspection to begin with. Determine exactly what it is that they're going to have and meet with the homeowner, landowner, whoever it happens to be. If it's the homeowner and they don't own the property, then we submit a letter with the application from the homeowner, from the landowner, saying that they agree to have Gap Ministries build this ramp for this. And we came tonight to ask for way for, we have one coming up on Richland Avenue for a boy that's 6 years old. 5-year-old that's got cerebral palsy, and he's like I said, they're not wealthy people, and life is going to fund the ramp for them, and feel like it's a little bit of a burden on them to have to pay a $100 application fee. But more than that, we'd like for to be in a position where Gap could continue to build ramps for folks in the city of Rankin, like we do in the remainder of Effingham County. And we recognize the permitting process and the requirement for that. We just would like to be able to, in the past, when Travis, we remember his last name, was the inspector, I would submit to him a little drawing of what we proposed to build and a layout of where it was on the property, so make sure it was within, on the property and not too close to property line, whatever the requirements were, and then a letter if indeed the letter was necessary. And Travis would approve the permit and we'd go on and build it, and he would come, and on one occasion, he has come behind us and said, we need to go back and fix something. And we did do that. That's the only time. And when we basically, I don't know if I explained it to you, but we had nailed a ramp section to a 4x4 and put a brace board under it. And the brace board, just all it was doing was holding up the end cap of the ramp section. So we put a 2x4 there and moved it back to where it was holding up the entire ramp. And we've incorporated that in our building model so that we do that all the time too now. So, but I don't know. The motion on the floor tonight is for this particular ramp. I'd like to, if I need to come back and make a motion for future reference, or if we can change the motion, whatever, for tonight, but we would like to be able to do this just as a matter of standard procedure.
Well,
I just have a question.
go ahead.
So you said GAP is working with Life Incorporated. Is GAP a 501c?
501c3 under the auspices of Guyton Christian Church. They are R5, our financial umbrella, but we are a nonprofit corporation.
And
And Life Incorporated is too.
Life is, I'm sure.
I was just gonna add that this is a request to remove permits altogether. This is not just for
Oh, is it?
one item.
Well, it's just to,
It says
to waive
building
the
for
permit fees
wheelchair ramps.
for, and
Everything within the city limits. I didn't realize that, but that would be.
the waive
The
the.
fee.
Yep. But the most important thing, Terry, is that, you know, we've been told a time or two in the past that we need to dig the hole and have the inspector come out and make sure the holes are dug the right size, and then we can come back and finish. But that's just, we built this ramp over here across from Alley's Bakery, last year, I believe it was, Chris Ward. It was a 40-foot ramp with 2 turn decks. And we built that thing in 4 hours. when we come on site, we come 2 chop saws, 3 nail guns, we don't play, when we get ready to go, we go. And the idea that we would have to sit and wait for an inspector to come and make sure the holes are the right size. We dig each hole 18 inches deep and put 25 pounds of concrete in each hole. So,
So I respect everything that you're saying, but a couple of things, points
Okay.
that I'd like to make.
yes, ma'am.
If we, first of all, I'm not comfortable with a blanket, yes, you guys can do this permit free or fee free until the end of time. There would have to be some type of time limits that we were talking about where we'd have to review it maybe yearly. I don't know. Because I wouldn't want to tie a future council into an agreement.
I'm not
Second,
sure why that's a problem.
you're not sure why that's a problem?
Yeah.
It's not my job to tie a future council into anything.
Yeah, it's just,
But you do understand that we had this agreement with council 5 years ago, and now we have,
The agreement, say,
guys, one person at a time, while we finish.
yes.
Go to Mr. Scott, and then we'll go to the next.
So I don't have an issue with it. I don't think anybody in the future is gonna have an issue with it, but my job as a council member is to not put something out there for future council to have to deal with. So I would like some type of time limit on it. Secondly, Terry, is there a process currently for what you're building as far as the inspection steps?
So yes, there is a building permit and it does, like he described, does require an inspection at the beginning and then an inspection at the end.
So my only comment on that is if we waive that for you, that's gonna open up the door for the general public to want that to be.
Well, this motion is only to waive the fees.
Okay,
So that's, you know, that would have to come back, I think, Ms. Riley, if we were looking at waiving the permit. Yes, yeah, so,
and the fees, I mean, that's a penalty upon a landowner that's already, not well off. But the idea that we would have to have a double inspection for a crew that's pretty fast and working volunteer, well, I mean, every one of our guys are Christian guys that go to the church and we're involved in a Christian organization to do things to help people.
that's right.
And the idea that we would have to have an inspector come before us to make sure the holes are the right size is a little disconcerting.
Okay, Mr. Scott?
Okay, this, project, before, but we did it anyhow. Mr. Fred Grill.
Right.
Out to operate the project. And what he did, he went out before they started construction and after. The permit was waived. We can waive the fees, but we cannot waive the charter do not allow us to commit other councils. So it's a case by case basis, and that's why we left it there, because we have to have some oversight on it because of Garma, the insurance for the city. And so the only thing we could find out that we could do legal like that is case by case. I don't know what the attorney might think we can work out, but that's the reason we've done it before. We've done this.
Not is all, the fee is not my concern.
Okay, go ahead.
That making 11 guys stand around waiting for an inspector is my concern.
Oh, hold on one second. Go ahead.
Speaking of specific. Privileged and served working. And what I would like to say is that anytime, we're not talking about a general contractor out there building houses and making money. We're talking about men in our community that have proven themselves year after year after year. I mean, I've seen the pictures on Facebook, they're out there for a long time every Saturday building these things. What I would suggest is we ask if Terry would work with Ben and then to see if we can figure out a better way to do this, waive this tonight. Because I know Effingham's done it for him, Springfield's done it for him, Guyton's done it for him. So how did they do
the
it?
only thing before us tonight.
So I'm talking. And so I'll just ask if Terry and Ben might could work with y'all, if we can just waive the fee tonight, let them work out the rest with you, Dan. And
Yeah,
get
but
that worked out with you.
We need to go ahead and get this ramp built.
This
for this
child
young fellow.
And David, why couldn't David do what Travis did? Go out there in the morning and then come back They can come out and approve it after. Yeah.
Right.
Well, what we've done in the past is I've met with Travis on site and showed him what it was that we were planning on doing. And he showed him the plan and everything, and not making him come out on a Saturday morning. We, most of the time, we've been doing this long enough that a lot of us are retired. And we don't have to work on Saturdays, but we still got half the other guys that do work that, want to help us, so we do them on Saturday.
Yes, and I think getting Terry, building, inspector there would be key. Because I mean, he has to have a level of trust and, process with you, so.
The motion be approved.
Second.
Got a motion by Ms. Taylor, I got a second by Mr. Blackwell, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, guys.
Just,
Just the fee.
Approve the fee.
Just the fee.
Or just this project?
just this part.
Just this one.
Number 6, new business. Melissa Calhoun requests to appear before council. Come on up, Ms. Calhoun. It can be whatever you want.
Whatever it's gonna be. The only reason I'm here is, and I may have overlooked this. I was looking back through the fence issues. Thank God there's a fence being built that's proper. But it's literally was, the new ordinances went into effect, September 11th last year. What I'm looking for, are there any ordinances or any enforcement for the ordinances that say, you can't wait a year, you've got to do something in X amount of days?
Well, she had already had that up and approved before that was passed.
Okay,
So we had to wait until it fell down or it didn't hold up, and now she's put to the new standards. Am I right, Terry?
Mostly. I would just say, so, we were informed that the fence was not totally straight, so our code enforcement officer, who no longer, is with the city, went out there several times, ultimately ended up issuing a citation. She was given, then came to court, was given a couple of extensions. When she did not correct it within that time period, she had to pay the citation. And then she's been, unfortunately, with that citation does not come pay this, and you also have to get it into conformance. So, David, in the absence of a code enforcement officer right now, has been out to meet with her to explain exactly what has to be done. It has to be done by, this Monday, a week from today, otherwise she's gonna get another citation.
so there are guidelines, but I don't see them in the ordinances. That's what I'm looking at.
I know we do have a section in chapter 90 that deals with enforcement.
Mhm. It's subjective, though.
It's subjective and it's slim right now, but we are in the process of updating our unified development ordinance to actually make all of our, not just our enforcement capabilities better, but to be more specific about what requires enforcement and how that whole process works.
And the reason I bring this up is, for over a year, we've been dealing with this. We're supposed to be a community. Instead, all it's caused is friction in this little area here.
Yes.
And now we've got where she doesn't even have a driveway, which is required. And she's got tarp down and bricks. And there's very poor lighting in this area. And as you're coming down East 9th Street, which 95% of us have to come out of that area, somebody's gonna pop a tire on those bricks. The bricks are holding down the tarp. And they're protruding into the roadway. So, so we just want to be able to do something where we can get this done, and I reached out to her when she moved in. Actually purchased some cakes, had them made, purchased them, took them over there, tried to be, neighborly before any of this started, and we were rebuked from the very beginning. we want to, in order to act as a community, we need to have some kind of standards and not let this linger and linger and linger
Yeah, and I
as to
think,
that.
like Terry said, I know that we've really been pressing on getting, we got that UDO and we've got a lot of guidelines that'll be in there. And then, so as soon as that stuff passes, that'll give us a little bit more bite. Before people build something, number one, and then number two, to go out. But to me, Ms. Calhoun, it sounds like a safety issue. And I think, Chief Merle needs to address that piece of it.
See, I didn't know if that fell under the police or, because my
Yeah,
understanding
if
is
it's
there's not
something in the
a,
roadway,
ordinance.
it's safety.
there's not an ordinance, inspector or enforcement right at this point in time.
I'd like to add too, that because of that property, is one of the reasons it drove council to go ahead and do a fence ordinance.
Right.
Because that was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. And also, it looks like there's some homesteading going on there. Gardens all over the place, front yard, backyard, livestock.
They did have goats at one time.
So I know Terry's added the homesteading thing to the code, Terry, so we are trying to address these, but unfortunately, he's got him ahead of the ordinances, and the ordinances.
Well, and also about rentals, because I know a lot of people get upset whenever we've got buildings and it's primarily rentals and the enforcement of that. Is there enforcement for not maintaining a rental that's more active?
Is that a rental?
I'm sorry?
Is that a rental?
No, that is not. The house next to ours
You're
is,
just talking about commercial.
Cindy's house?
no, that's the other thing is uninhabited house. We've got problems with uninhabited houses that have been sitting and nothing being done, which is, to me, a safety issue if you've got somebody can just come on in. There's safety issues where Georgia Power does not, at the end of North Wendell, there is no light there. It is pure black out there way. You cannot see anything whatsoever. Georgia Power said they fixed it. Unless my eyes are really that bad, they've not fixed it. And the house next to us has overgrowth. I think the windows are almost all entirely covered in the front with vegetation. The whole backyard is full of vegetation that's not been maintained. And then we got trees that are falling, beautiful live oak tree, but it's falling. And, we've had to move things over. From the other property owner, we've already spent about $7,000 because trees have fallen on our property.
Is that
And
house
damage.
occupied?
I'm sorry?
Is it occupied?
It's occupied, but it's occupied by unrelated persons. So you got 3 to 4 men who stay at this property. They're not related. They kind of come and go. It's more like a boarding house than anything else.
What's the address?
It's Miss Brown's property. I'm not sure.
Eddie Brown's.
But yeah, she's rolling over her grave right now with the
Well, we can
noise.
get the vegetation taken care of.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, Terry has something.
Yeah.
and right now, the vegetation's so bad just around the mailbox that I'm surprised that just trying to, if there's concerns about new properties, I think the older neighborhoods need to be addressed as well so that we're protected just as much as the others are.
Exactly.
And that's a concern.
I agree.
Because we don't want to leave,
Right.
First of all, I have no desire to move. I have no desire to pack, period. But we absolutely, after being there for 20 plus years, why should we be forced out when others are coming in and not abiding by codes
So
and ordinances?
what's that house now? Her son and daughter?
Her son does. I think she gave it up to him, is what she did.
So Terry, is there any way we could get maybe David to go over there and just walk that property and let her show him the stuff? See
We
what
can
y'all
go
do?
look at it, see if it's in violation of any of the codes, and if it is, then we can take steps to get it into compliance.
I think the vegetation would be something that
Right.
automatically.
And the only way we know who's there and who's not there is at one time, we had a couple of the police officers, about 6-7 months ago or longer, they're looking for some woman, her cell phone was pinging to that address. And they never found, I don't know what's going on that, we have no idea who lives there. They've got just multiple people over there. And, it just changes all the time. And I didn't think that boarding houses were allowed, and it really is more of a boarding house than it is a rental property.
Well, we'll definitely check on that. I'll be the nosy neighbor.
Good, appreciate it. But there was just some of the concerns I had, I just wanted to address, and because without enforcement, the ordinance are sitting on the paper. Like I said, we want to be a neighborhood, but when everybody's upset about something, we're not a neighborhood, we're just, they even had the police come out one time, I think, when she had moved another building or something, or he was so angry about seeing another building being put out there, storage building, so we prefer to be a little bit more peaceful as to that, so. So, thank you all very much, I appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.
Guys, at this time, we'll go back to the public hearing. I'm gonna turn the meeting over to our public hearing.
I open the public hearing to consider a petition filed by Neil McKenzie with Goldman Company Incorporated for a zoning map amendment for a parcel located at 624 Blue Jay Road to amend the zoning from R2 residential single family and duplex to R3 residential multifamily. The parcel is owned by Larry and Sherry Young. Parcel numbers are 2730001. So Terry is, have all the advertisement and notice requirements complied with?
Yes.
All right, Mr. McKenzie is, oh, sorry, you don't look like Neil.
Good evening. How are you? I'm Mallory Boyd. I am representative from Coleman Company. I'm in Neil's place tonight, so I can go over the proposed zoning changes and our goals, just like we did at planning, if that works for everybody. So what we are proposing is to rezone the property that's at 624 Blue Jay Road. We are hoping to accommodate a new townhome development. This project is directly off of Blue Jay with neighboring single-family residential area to the west, and the Rincon Fire Department is to the east. Our primary goal is to provide affordable and efficient housing options to meet Rincon's growing residential needs. The proposed townhomes will offer a low-maintenance, cost-effective solution that will align with the current market demands. This is going to be a fee simple ownership. The townhomes will be fee simple with a property owners association. So they'll manage and maintain the common areas to ensure that it's a well-kept community. As far as parking and accessibility go, this will include garages and additional visitor parking. On-site or on-street parking will not be necessary since we plan to provide 112 parking spaces, which is more than adequate to meet the residents and visitors' parking needs. Landscaping and buffers will ensure that a 20-foot perimeter buffer is provided and supplemented as needed to maintain the integrity and privacy of the surrounding areas. And then as far as compliance with new regulations go, we do acknowledge and fully accept the city's recently passed requirements for townhome developments, and will ensure our project complies with all new standards. One of the final things that we want to bring up is community connectivity. A walkway will be included to connect the new development to the adjacent Pine Brook neighborhood. So this will provide a safe and convenient access for children for bus drop-off and pickup points.
You'll say that again?
We're willing to put in a walkway, so this will connect the new development that we're proposing to the adjacent Pine Brook community, so the children will have a safe and convenient access for the bus stop.
So they'll have to walk over to the next subdivision.
Yes, ma'am. We don't have that at this time, but it's something that they would propose.
Is that the one just to the left that you're drawing here on this on the board?
So the fire station's gonna be to the right and the new one's to the left. Yes, sir.
Why wouldn't they have their own bus stop?
I don't know that there's adequate space on site to add another bus stop to it, but if it's something that's required, we could potentially make some.
Yeah, it would have to be required because a bus can go back, well, it wouldn't have to, I'm just suggesting it. A fire truck would have to be able to go back there and turn around, so a bus would be able to.
Yes, ma'am, I'm not referring to like the parking needs or the turnaround spaces as far as just a open area designated for children to wait at the bus stop,
I
not
see.
placing them in the streets. I'm not sure that there's a designated space for that, but we haven't had a full design plan yet, so we could potentially make some adjustments if it's
Well, 'cause
needed.
if it was me, I wouldn't want to walk my child over to another neighborhood to get on the bus. So,
We can certainly do that.
And I will tell you too that you didn't mention that also across the street from being New Elementary. And that means there's gonna be congestion and traffic.
Yeah.
Also,
So we anticipate the needs of the traffic. We did go ahead and analyze the estimated vehicles that'll be entering and leaving the development during morning peak hours and evening peak hours. They're also going to be 4-laning Blue Jay Road. So I think it's gonna be more than adequate to meet the needs of the community. That whole area is just a complete overhaul is taking place, and I think this will more than fit in with what's gonna be occurring in the area. But just for your information, if you are concerned about traffic, we estimate for morning peak hours, 7 vehicles to enter and 21 to exit. And then for evening peak hours, we estimate 21 vehicles will enter and 12 will exit during that rush hour period.
as a bus driver, Mona, what do you think?
at 7 o'clock in the morning when, traffic's backed up to go to that school. And there'll be more than 21 cars leaving there at 7 o'clock in the morning, I promise you. Because they all go to work about that time. But anyway, but I'm just saying that there'll be a lot of congestion there because of people trying to get in and out of school. My biggest concern when I saw this was not the townhomes itself, but things like decelerate lanes and making sure that, those type of things are accounted for. And you also, right below that, you've got the curve on Blue Jay and that major stop sign at the intersection that you're not sure. So that's a big, I don't know if they're gonna do something different with that stop sign.
They're in a roundabout.
Yeah.
So it's gonna change drastically.
Redesign that.
And as a bus driver, I hear them every, in the Blandford saying, I'm stuck in the roundabout, I can't get to the school. But, maybe 4 lanes would be better.
That's what I'm hoping as well. I live in that area, so.
Speaking of the 4 lanes and everything, have y'all taken into account the setbacks, for that? From the Blue Jay to where your actually property line will start and you start building? So the county may come in
And take some right away,
take
yes,
some
sir.
of your
So that
current property, so you gotta make allowances for that for the future.
it is something that will be considered with the full design plan. Like I said, we haven't got that far.
Okay.
We haven't estimated. We want to put 50 units on site, and this is about what it'll take. But the front entrance, it can always be reconfigured just a little bit.
Because
So,
I'm looking at the drawing, and some of the units look like they're parked right over the top of that little pond and property on the, the layout of the current proposed.
Well, and the only thing that I would add to that too is, keep in mind with the rezoning, with the site plan, you're doing the kind of the bare minimum that you have
Right.
to show for the rezoning because you don't want to put a lot of money into the design until you get to the zoning.
Yeah.
So.
A lot of that could be addressed. Plan comes back.
Yeah.
This is some of their seeing whether they need. Then all that would be addressed.
Townhomes are needed in the areas.
These will be for sale.
yes, ma'am, these will be for sale. These are not for rent.
And won't keep your mind on that, right?
I'm simply representing the civil engineering firm. I'm not the owner. But this is the plan. We've got a contractor that we'd like to work with, so we thought it through, and as long as the owner stays the same and the plans where they're at, this is what we're gonna go with. I can't say never, but this is the current plan at the moment,
Well, the thing that drives us is affordable entry-level
Yes, ma'am.
housing.
and it will help with that significantly.
And I like the fact you're gonna have a garage. That'll be nice.
So there'll be actually space for 2 cars, one in the driveway, one in the garage.
Yes, sir, one in the
It's a
driveway.
single car garage.
Yes, sir.
But I see no space possibilities to replace spaces?
So there is gonna be a community pond in the back, which will be used for on-site storm, and also as a, amenity site. So maybe fishing for kids, walking paths possibly around the pond.
Anybody got anything else?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Trying to see how the fire truck would back up, and I know it's, but anyway, but your point is the way you've designed it, the fire truck could go in and then back up and then get out that way. Okay, do you have anything further to add?
We look forward to working with the city, and we're happy to make any investments as needed to meet the city's growth needs.
I think the public here to speak in favor of the application of the site. Is anybody here to speak in opposition to this? I think the hearing should be closed.
All right, and so with that, we're gonna move back into new business thing.
Thank you for your time.
We'll move back into new business, number one, which is, attached to that. First reading on a petition filed by Neil McKenzie with Coleman Company, Inc. for a zoning map amendment for a parcel located at 624 Blue Jay Road to amend the zoning from R2 to R3. The parcel is owned by Larry and Sherry Yon. So,
No, it's the same project.
Same project.
So this is just.
anybody have any questions or concerns up here?
Second.
Got a motion by Ms. Riley, I got a second by Mr. Blackwell, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Move to, new business number 7, approval of an MOU with Georgia Forestry, every 2 years. Is new.
Yeah, so this is just a standard, saying they're signed every 2 years. Just saying that they'll come and help bring in kind of, so after a big storm, if there was some kind of emergency and we needed an access cut through somewhere right away, they would come and do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That would be to cut that hole through the backside picket fences in the event that something happens.
Before our revenue.
That's right.
Motion for approval.
So does our insurance automatically cover the liability insurance on all of this equipment?
Well, like mutual aid? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Both ways, right, Mr. Perkins?
So you,
Insurance would work both ways on this, wouldn't it?
that's what my.
Forestry Commission
Yes, sir.
in the city.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Scott. We have a second by Ms. Taylor. It was Ms. Taylor. I'm gonna do Ms. Taylor, and then I'm gonna get on to everybody for just speaking. So, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. New business item number 8, request approval to sign an agreement with Power Technologies for cloud service in the amount of $33,799. Matt, come on up.
Good evening, Matt Kirkshank, IT Director. Forgive me, I know not what I'm doing. This is not presenting something like this to you guys. So as a result of my rapid entrance working with City of Lincoln when our Tyler server, on-premise server crashed, we discovered a lot of things and decided it would behoove us to get a quote for moving to the cloud, also suggested by Tyler Technologies themselves. And so that quote is here. Benefits are going to be a lot. It's going to require less network bandwidth on our part for internet access or cloud access to Tyler Technologies Encode. It's also, the server that that's running on is well past end of life and is not, there is no more updates from Microsoft for that server. And obviously the hardware has started to fail as well. So just a little bit of information for replacing that server if we wanted to stay on premise. That's going to require about $23,000 for hardware and the software needed. And that does not include Tyler's fees for actually moving the data from the old server to the new server. I do not have a price on that. They've also, as of the last big update to Tyler, upped the amount of bandwidth needed in order to access the on-premise. Basically, they have, historically, we've been using Tyler technologies from remote locations like the police department, recreation, things, the golf course, things like that, and it's been working fine. But their latest updates have upped the requirements for bandwidth to the point where those remote locations can no longer use Tyler. I do have a Band-Aid in place so that they're still functional, but it's not convenient. There is no more working from home, which could be fixed with the next item on the agenda, but for now, that's just another reason that we're leaning towards moving to the cloud, just like everyone else is. So if I can find, because everybody wants the numbers. Yes. So there we go. There's a module, well, the total that's down here for their quote is $33,799 a year. Okay. There is one module that we don't use, which takes $21,078 off of, or $2,178 off of it, making a total $31,621. Just to note, we are currently paying them $21,000, give or take a little bit, for on-premise Tyler Technologies server. So the price difference is running about $10,000. We can save a pretty good chunk of that when we go on the cloud with the network bandwidth that we're going to have if we don't go with the cloud. So we're recommending approval to move to the cloud. Legal needs to, of course, read through their part of it and approve it, but as long as everything's okay with that.
How long do we have to save stuff indefinitely? Or can we light stuff after, like our office, after 7 years, we can shred stuff? So what's the protocol for the city?
We do have a records retention policy, and we can, after a certain amount of time, we just have to have a certificate of destruction saying what we destroyed, and just have that on file. So we'll know if anybody ever requested, we say, no, it was destroyed this date, it was a 7-year, 5-year, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Is that where?
Yes, it's all different.
What comes?
But with it backed up on the cloud, it will always be, unless we ask for it to be completed.
Correct.
Or the police department.
Correct.
Yeah, so recently.
What's the correct amount?
621 annually.
And it's removing the project accounting module.
Yes.
I'm not super familiar with Tyler. I think that we absolutely have. And I'm assuming that they have a redundancy in place if they have a fixed location, so.
They do, they are at two main data centers currently.
They have two, so they have a
two-
redundancy.
They do have redundant, data centers that they're hosting out of. It is a major certified, security, type farm that they're hosting in.
I don't.
Back up somewhere.
And they will be handling
I
all
don't
that.
think equipment here now that whether to go or not, I think we need to do it, but I think each contract we look at it there. He needs to.
Right,
Any contract.
I would think that we would make a motion to approve the dollar amount tonight with the stipulation that the attorney reviews the contract and agrees that it's in order.
So you.
I'll
you
make
want
a
to make a
motion.
motion?
I'll second.
Got a motion by Ms. Riley, got a second by Mr. Scott to approve, the adjusted amount of 31,621. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. You want to stay up there? Number 9, request approval to sign agreement with Planet Broadband for internet and phone service for the city of Rankin.
Okay, so there's a large selection of things to look at here. This item, is probably going to change as far as the recommendation goes, since the cloud planners has been approved. The cloud, Tyler has been approved. The initial recommendation coming in, if we stayed local, was to go with the planner's proposal, which you have in front of you. It provides more than adequate bandwidth. It's the same kind of network that the county's put in to link all of their buildings together, layer 2 technology. And it's proven itself to be extremely reliable with more than enough bandwidth for the county to run. So I was kind of leaning towards the planners, and that's why that was recommended. However, it's also the second pricier of the modified quotes that we've got. There was a signed planners agreement before I got here, and I was reviewing that signed agreement, and I found a couple of issues with it. One, the bandwidth that they were talking about putting in at each location was no better than DSL. Yeah.
So, Mr. Scott's question to me earlier was, are we currently in a contract?
We are.
Are we month to month?
We are currently month to month on residential coaxial Comcast at all locations. On that coaxial internet, they cannot provide any more than 35 megs up. At the main office, we're lucky if we see 10 of that. It's crazy. Their fiber product, however, is much better. And they have provided a pretty interesting quote for what they can provide with us. The latest one, which I had to hand out, it wasn't in the packets because it didn't get here until Friday. Actually shows them providing 1 gig of internet at all of our locations, along with a 1 gig connection to the layer 2 network, which would tie all our locations together. Tying all our locations together centralizes a lot of services, centralizes maintenance of the hardware, and will just make things so much better and faster as far as domain features, things like that. It also comes out as the lowest price quote.
So as our IT guy, of these three proposals that you have, what is your recommendation? Or your preference of the company?
I've done some research. I was really rooting for Planner just because it's a network that I'm familiar with and was part of establishing for the county. And I know how reliable it is. And I know the frustrations that we've gone through here at the city with Comcast coax cable, with
But we're trying
a
to do
couple of our
business.
locations.
Going, okay.
Yeah, it's,
That's
I did some research on their fiber products and they're rated very well. They are able to provide this bandwidth and, they're looking at about 3 to 6 months of build out to get that fiber to all of the locations.
My guy is 6 to 9.
And I don't want us to forget about the issues that we've had with Comcast. And I'm talking about like from a customer service standpoint, not a reliability standpoint, but just customer service.
Correct.
So, I mean, while you're bouncing that around, be thinking about the problems that we've had in the past as well. Them telling us on the commercial side that it's gonna take them until next year to dig a hole to put our cable in at the golf course. So that's all I'm saying.
That's being expedited. The folks I've been working with on this project are working with the service manager in the local area as well as the construction manager. It's currently set for October 17th, but they're trying to speed that up to within a week or so of this date. They've also promised me phone numbers, direct phone numbers to vice presidents.
So do we have an actual business account with them?
We do have our voice with them already.
Okay.
And that's been extremely reliable. And that is a business product. So we do already have a business account with them.
And Matt, I think you told me today, if we do go with, that means all of our phones and the things that we currently have, we would not have to replace.
That's correct. Right now, and the other two proposals would mean replacing all of our phone systems.
Are we currently with the
The voice service is a voice over IP, yes. I do have one more thing to add, and that's the existing contract with Planners. Or Windstream, I mean, sorry. That contract has an out for us. The reason I asked them for another quote was because phone service was not included in the initial contract that was signed, and neither was bringing their fiber out to the wastewater treatment plant, which with the upgrades is going to need some good internet with the sensors and stuff that are going to be included for monitoring and safety purposes. So I asked them to give me a quote on that instead of paying Comcast for phones and Windstream for internet. And then they proposed their new proposal for internet to wastewater treatment plant has a almost $24,000 construction upfront cost, which would not happen if we canceled that. As of Thursday, they had not ordered any circuits, and that's the clause that's in the current contract as far as being able to get out of it. So I'll call first thing in the morning if we can do that.
Yeah.
So this $3,450 that they're on the Comcast sales order form, that's a monthly solution
Yes, ma'am.
or a monthly cost, but it's all of our buildings. and it's our phones and the, the internet.
Yes, ma'am. And the Wi-Fi we provide off of the internet that they bring into the building.
And that would also include, well, that wouldn't include the construction to get it out to the wastewater, would it?
It does,
It does?
yes. There's no extra fee for any of any of the construction. Yes.
That's right.
So, since we've approved going to the cloud with Tyler, I definitely want to, suggest the Comcast proposal.
I'll tell you this, just from a business perspective, I do have Comcast Business. And your sales rep is the same sales rep that I have. And I actually, in the last 6 months, get notifications now and good follow-up, which I didn't before.
That's good.
The service in general is, it's pretty reliable. I have a backup system. I have clear as well. It's pretty reliable and I get text notifications when it does go down. And then when it comes back up, I get that. So we have some new system in place that's actually sending us notifications.
They'll be providing us new ways out to the internet, so if one of those paths goes down, the other path will automatically kick in. It's also a loop network, so if there's a break somewhere, then the signal can go the other way around to each of the things, just like,
That's excellent.
So
So it's redundancy, but
we're gonna change this, to approve to sign the agreement for Comcast?
yes, sir.
Okay. We'll,
I make a motion that we approve the request with the change going to Comcast for internet and phone service for City of Rankin.
second.
With the attorney.
With the attorney reviewing the contract.
we got a motion by Mr. Blackwell, I got a second by Ms. Riley. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you so much.
This was
A lot of work,
thing.
man.
Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, number 10, we got a second reading of an ordinance by mayor and council for the city of Rankin, amending the code of the city of Rankin. Article 2, section 82-31, payment delinquency penalties, non-payment disconnection, discontinuance of service, reconnection fee, to provide for notice, to provide for severability, to provide an effective date, to repeal all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and for other purposes. Art Joe?
Change that verbiage. Just to make it consistent. Yeah. Slowly being a change.
And previously, we were calling it a service interruption fee, but it was actually a disconnect fee. But we weren't actually disconnecting or so they changed the verbiage to administrative fees.
Second.
I got a motion by Ms. Riley, I got a second by Ms. Taylor, all in favor say aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Motion passes, thank you. New business item number 11, request approval to accept a matching grant from the Small Rural Tribal Body Worn Camera Program in the amount of $112,000 for the purchase of body cameras. Chief?
Mayor and Council, I brought Dr. Estes with me. He's the one that actually applied for the grant. Again, took it upon himself to do it, but our body cameras we currently have are old, outdated, and not supported anymore by WatchGuard, who was bought out by Motorola. It's a big issue. We have the same age of dash cameras in our cars. Long story short, this is a portion of what it would cost to replace all of our body and dash cameras, but more than what we have.
The grant is for $112,000 and we would be required to match 50%, so $66,000, right?
So 56 would be our portion.
I'll get you some shit, that's fine.
Does this come out of the spot?
It can.
Okay.
Did we have anything, just one more question, did we have anything in your budget already for body cam replacement?
No. Because this was a very, up until about a year or two ago, it was a very reliable company. Once Motorola bought them out, forcing you into the latest and greatest and most expensive and.
In the Motorola.
Right. So once that changed is what created the need for everything to change over. We don't even have warranty stuff we have anymore.
I also see the note that the purchase would not be made until January of 2025, so will we put that in that budget?
Yes,
Okay.
but, so we're not awarded, we're through phase one.
Right.
Approval for y'all to accept it, and so we can move forward with phase two.
Okay.
I'm not saying that right.
Yeah, I make a motion.
Got a motion by Ms. Toler, I got a second by Ms. Underwood. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Sergeant Estes, aye. Really appreciate you doing that. That's huge. So, yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to new business number 12, adoption of new policies to be incorporated into the city personnel policy manual, family and medical leave policy, reemployment policy, and social media policy. Ms. Jones. I'm gonna get it right.
These are just new policies that. Well, then, these came from Tiffany, things that we did not have in place that we to add. Just periodically trying to go through the policy manual, making changes as we go. So if you have any questions.
I looked at them and, thought that, thought they were all, seemed reasonable. You know, the FMLA document, as I read it, is just basically kind of restating the FMLA in a summary form. So even if, my thought was even if something's wrong on here, it
Still refers to the federal.
it still refers to the federal law, right? So I don't see much risk on that. The reemployment policy, this is a policy question for y'all, that last sentence that says, an employee terminated for cause or who resigned in lieu of termination is ineligible for rehire. And I told Tiffany this morning, I said, I doubt it ever happens, but I said, I guess my question to city council from a policy standpoint would be, do y'all have any concerns? Is there ever a person who's been terminated in lieu that came back 5 years later and you wanted to throw them a bone because this is saying you can't do it? Which may not be a problem. Usually if they've been terminated in lieu, I'm sorry, resigned in lieu of termination, you don't want them back in.
That's right.
So that's just a policy question for you on that. Social media.
How do you document they resigned in lieu of termination?
Yes, sir. I never see it.
So I don't even, and I'm not sure about part of it. So for us, if there's an ongoing internal affairs investigation that, is most likely going to result in termination, that gets reported to the state as one of three options. They'll either resign voluntarily, they resign in lieu of termination.
And you'll have I know y'all have a system that y'all can go look and see that.
Yes.
But with this statement being in our policy, that it's gonna apply to every city employee now, because it's in our policy. So if someone from the water department, in lieu of termination, decides to resign, how do we keep track of that? How do we know that?
Why can't we add that to our separation? Is there should be a way to add that. I know that gets added other places, but
I think sometimes it doesn't go into the file because we want this person to leave. And they don't want anything in their personnel file, and we just think this would be the.
Yeah.
cleanest
Our
way.
statement should be.
yeah, well, and the reason why is because you know, you know that you may not want to hire them back, but I mean,
But 5 years down the road.
That's
it's a
right.
whole new crew.
Whole new crew, things
That
to be
doesn't-
charged, city manager, council.
Where they
how
go.
do they know that
They
we
don't.
did that with our documentation?
Statement should be policy. We don't have a way to keep track of it and someone 5 years down the road actually be able to pull that up.
Well, and I think and I know we've not done it in the past, because we don't document it. But I think we're trying to now. But if you're documenting situations with employees or problems with employees, then 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, somebody wants to come back, they're gonna go back to that file and see. Well, we had.
So we're talking about a paper file.
Yeah,
That's
if they get back to, you're gonna go back to an employee file and see.
I mean, right now, do you know where the paper files are right now? If you wanted to go pull an employee's paper file,
I have no idea.
I can tell you. In the water or warehouse,
Store.
it just piled up,
So.
but digging through, it with no organization or something.
I think I'm employed. I think I'm employed, do an application. And 2 days later, I get hit by a book to that employee that I had 10 years ago.
How do you get that though?
And
You
that's
have a
what-
system in place. We don't. And this is my point, is this should not be here until we have a system in place to actually check it.
Well, I think, you said, being,
Yeah.
another
That's
to that piece.
That's
is that- is that I think we need to call it what it is. When we're outside of law enforcement, I think we need to call it what it is. If it's a true termination, call it what it is on the front end and go ahead and do it. And stop tiptoeing around, because if it can get you in this type of battle.
And I
Yeah.
think they have, you have folks. Yeah.
Yeah, they
They can
have.
go. A system where they put in the person's name and you can see that information. As soon as we have that, I would be fine with that statement. My point right now is we don't have. it.
But personnel files are not uploaded to the computer.
There's no, we don't have a.
She has started, scanning them in, the hard drive, but, older ones, no, we have a file cabinet that we have in the Public Works, not the first door, but the locked door, where some is in,
No filing cabinet.
it's
And if
behind the door. It's,
In the second
It's-
bin.
yeah, it's the locked part. And then they're in box, some of them are in boxes labeled what year or whatever the people terminated. It should be taped up if it's labeled like that.
It's not, you should take it.
I have, that's why I know the file cabinets are behind the door, like when you go into the locked part. And the only person that have a key, should have a key, it would be in my office and Tim Bowles, not the first door, but the second one.
I'm telling you, the first door, I saw payroll boxes. Employee.
Oh, not-
Payroll boxes.
Oh, yeah, but not, payroll, but not personnel files is what it is.
Personnel files you have.
Yes, they're in the second
Secure
part.
section.
Personnel, payroll maybe not, but personnel should be in another locked room because people's social security numbers and stuff.
So do we agree to, if we want to remove that item,
Just the whole line, or?
Just the last sentence.
just the last sentences?
But once we get a system in place, bring it back.
And then what did you see on the social media side, Mr. Parker?
I thought it was, fine. I thought, well, let's see. There's one thing I want to make sure y'all noticed. The disclaimer, so if you were to, if you have a social media site and you make a post that relates to city business, that's acceptable, but you have to have a disclaimer on your social media page, which is actually the way it should be. That provides protection to all of you, but I just want to make sure y'all saw that. It's on packet page 180, it's item 5. It's got a required disclaimer for you to have on your social media page, so I just want to make sure you saw that. But it really is, it is the
Doesn't
right thing to
apply
do, because that actually protects everybody.
Fair.
I think it would.
How do you, and how do you put the disclaimer? I mean,
You have to type
You would
it.
have to type it each time?
No, no, that's the good thing. You can put it on, I'm really bad at social media, but I think it's like on your about information or somewhere like that.
Oh, and you put the disclaimer and then
If they're really-
This relates to employees,
That's the help.
and that relates to employees, because the last sentence says, officials are.
Maybe we have to.
That's good enough.
But that's kind of
It's right.
education.
I saw it earlier. It's.
This on, this section 5 wanted. Maybe they, but
No, I agree. No, I was saying earlier when they said this encompasses. Somewhere this person, the word personnel, I think encompasses officials too.
Personnel, city contract employees, and city volunteers, personnel, business ventures.
But either way, even if I'm pretty sure it does, because y'all have to have, you do need to have a disclaimer really, just to make sure everybody knows you're not speaking on behalf of the city.
because that last sentence on 5 states the opposite. City officials are expressly exempted from this provision and may identify themselves as city officials without the use of a disclaimer.
Okay, oh, so long as the speech subject to personnel. Yeah,
This is my own opinion and not necessarily an opinion or position held by the city of Rankin, the mayor, or city council.
I don't know what says that.
City officials are expressly exempt from this provision and may identify themselves as city officials without the use of the disclaimer that's on page 180.
Yeah.
Says we don't have to use it.
It does say that, I'm not sure why. I would rather you say that.
So we
Strike that.
Strike that.
Strike that line then.
Yeah.
Usually we go through.
I don't know, what if y'all don't do it, then I don't want y'all to be in trouble for not following the policy, so. Like, they leave it in, then you. Well, I would say, let's.
So we cover ourselves,
One would
we've had this
recommend-
conversation
Yes.
and use the disclaimer.
Yeah.
But leave it in. That's okay.
And that's with the deletion of the sentence on, regarding the, rehire.
With the update. Okay, got a motion by Ms. Underwood, I got a second by Ms. Riley with the updated changes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13, approval of a resolution to adopt the city of Lincoln's 2024 through 2029 comprehensive plan update. Is this Ms. Jones and Ms. Lewis, or is this just Ms. Lewis?
So, at your August 12th meeting, you accepted the transmittal to the Department of Community Affairs. They accepted it, with changes, so this is just the official adopting it. And this will be our new comprehensive plan update.
Make a motion to approve.
All right, I got a motion by Mr. Blackwell, I got a second by Ms. Taylor, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passed. We have a need for executive session? Yes, okay. A motion to go into executive session. All right, got a motion by Mr. Scott, I got a second by Mr. Blackwell, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Let's get it done. I was told that, these two were not working. Well, we're hearing about every other word from you and. Hey, you okay? I'm just gonna get you outside. Y'all ready?